Is this JD 2.0? I don't know. I don't care about that stuff. I don't. I mean, here's my problem with this whole, is this, that all these people are 2.0, meaning they're hybrids or robots and I'm not, it doesn't even matter. Whether the technology is capable of that or not, doesn't matter to me. The reason I don't really follow this path of all these people being 2.0 is because what's the end game with that? What's the end game then? There isn't one. It's just, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. What really is important to know is, like Trump's executive orders, because I think everything he's putting in place, what he's executing, his executive orders are like putting in place the original Constitution. And you may say, but they're just executive orders. Yeah, but they've changed our Constitution over time, like post-war, and then they put in all these independent agencies, which those independent agencies have no obligation to we the people. So I think that's why this first 100 days is what matters to Trump more than anything. He has to get all of these in. And for anybody that says, oh, he's executing order like a dictator, well, for years on Twitter, he was calling out Obama for being a dictator with executive orders. That Obama was basically just giving amnesty to illegal aliens running across the border. I mean, a bunch of stuff. And he's like, what do we call this in other countries? And people, some people were actually saying a dictator. Yeah. So when he said he was going to be a dictator, he'll be a dictator to reverse what the other dictators were putting in through executive orders. Mm-hmm. So I like Joshua Phillips from Epoch Times. He has a show on YouTube called Crossroads, and it's just a news media hour-long show, and at the end he answers questions. So I wanted to read straight from his transcript because I thought it was rather interesting. One thing is that Doge, everybody that's running around saying this is not a congressionally approved office. Oh, it is. It is. There's nothing they can do about it. And this is why all Trump did was he changed the name of it. It used to be called the United States Digital Service under Obama. It was in fact congressionally approved, was in fact fully legal, and again, being led congressionally approved, and Trump just renamed it. So the entire argument that Congress didn't vote for this is basically thrown to the wind. So he just changed the name of it, so it is congressionally approved. A little bit more about some of his executive orders. So Donald Trump is basically trying to rein in, obviously, all of the executive branch, but we have all these independent agencies that don't answer to the people, which is what pisses Donald Trump off. Because, and they love to say, well, these independent agencies are bipartisan. They're never bipartisan, so stop it. It's just all this red tape. So one of the things the Democrats, they did file a lawsuit against the White House. I wouldn't worry about it, of course, but it was over Trump and his executive orders because Trump says the election, that the Federal Election Commission should fall under the White House. Now, the Democrats will say, see, he's trying to be a dictator. No, he's trying to reverse all the things your dictator Obama did. Because really, what is the point? If you're just going to constantly put in all these independent agencies, what good does it do for the people to elect a president? He's trying to get back to the original Constitution. So, it goes on to say here that Donald Trump signed an executive order ensuring that all federal agencies are accountable to the American people as required by the Constitution. Under his executive order, the order notes that Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution vests all executive power in the president, meaning all executive branch officials and employees are subjected to Trump's supervision. That, of course, means all these otherwise independent government agencies, if they're part of the executive branch, under the Constitution, they are under the president. They say this, therefore, because all executive power is vested in the president, that all agencies must submit draft regulations for the White House with no carve-out for so-called independent agencies like the FE's Federal Elections Commission. The only thing was that there was an exception made for the Federal Reserve. They say for the monetary policy functions of the Federal Reserve, they gave one exception to it, the Federal Reserve, and also it says to consult with the White House on their priorities and strategic plans. And the White House, it says, will set their performance standards through the Office of Management. And this is to ensure that tax dollars are spent wisely. The president will get to review all of, it says, the president and the attorney general will get to review everything in regards to the executive branch and these agencies. However, it's important to note that the president is over the attorney general as well, meaning Trump would still technically control, even with the EG there to interpret the law, for the executive branch, instead of having separate agencies that are conflicting with conflicting interpretations. And then it goes on to say here, it notes as well, executive power, the power of the president without responsibility, has no place in our republic. What's a president otherwise? And it says the United States was founded on the principle that the government should be accountable to the people. We elect the president. The president has this function, and this power is not elected to elect unelected bureaucrats. And it says this is why the founders created a single president who is alone vested with the executive power and responsibility to take care that the laws be faithfully executed. It notes as well that voters and the president can now hold all federal agencies, not just cabinet departments, responsible for their decisions as the Constitution demands. Basically, since this is based on a constitutional argument, it's very likely that the Democrats will sue, and I think for some of it they are. But they're and so it'll probably go to the Supreme Court. But it goes on. Joshua Phillips goes on to say here, the Trump side says that, as he mentions, the Constitution in writing does establish powers under the executive branch of the government, mainly under the White House, to ensure that government agencies can be reined in by voters. We elected the president, and the president represents us. Makes total sense. The Democrat process, it represents us in the Democrat process because we are a representative democracy, which is a republic. Now, the other side, the Democrats would argue, well, Congress and the president or Gerald Ford created a law that changes this. And so that they're trying to argue some law that Ford put in after Watergate. But Trump is trying, basically, to put it simply, is he's trying to put things back in place the way the Constitution was originally to be. So that's, I think, what his focus is, this 100 days, because that will reverse so many things, and then that will put power back in the people's hands, where you can hold these people accountable. So Donald Trump is your representative to hold these people accountable, even A.G. Bondi, all of them. So that's what this 100 days, I don't care who's 2.0 or not. These 100 days is Donald Trump basically putting us back into the original Constitution where the power was with the people that all the other dictators changed.